Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. Today we're going to be talking about the Rams' offensive woes, especially in the red zone. Before we dive into that, though, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. And today's sponsor of the video is BetUS, which you should go check out because you will get a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% on your other two deposits using the promo code YouTube150. So head on over to BetUS. Use that YouTube 150. If you believe that Jared Verse is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, there's still time to get in on the action with BetUS. The link is in the description. So, guys, I got to be honest with you. It didn't sit right to me. I was thinking, the Rams drove all up and down the field against the Bears, and yet they lost the game. And the Rams are 1-3 despite being a very good offense. So what is the deal here? Well, I decided to do some research and figure it out myself, and I think we've come to a fair conclusion here. First off, the Rams' red zone offense isn't cutting it, and it's not just it isn't cutting it, it's actually killing them. Don't believe me? Listen to this. So, every team not named the Miami Dolphins has led more of the game than the Rams. Okay, and what I mean by that is they've had a lead for more than the Rams over the course of 4 games. Only the Dolphins who are behind the Rams. And you know why? The Dolphins are behind the Rams because they've never led. 4 games, they've never led. The Rams are 31st in the league in lead time. So, not good, but makes sense, right? Think about it. When you're talking about the Rams and you're talking about leading games, you're talking about any team for that matter. If they can't score touchdowns, how are you going to lead games? Rams led the game for the majority at the beginning because of field goals. But 6-0, well, you're barking up the wrong tree because as soon as a team scores a touchdown, kicks an extra point, all that effort, does not matter how much you've dominated, is now gone. They have 7, you have 6. You would lose if that's how it ended up. So there's some issues, but the Rams are tied for second in the league in red zone scoring attempts per game. It's important to understand that the Rams are one of the best offenses in the league, despite all their injuries, at moving the ball down the field. In between the 20s, they are very, very good. However, when you get into the 20s, mainly, well, I guess it would work the opposite too, but the red zone, they've been struggling. How much so? They're 28th. They're 28th in the league in converting red zone attempts into red zone touchdowns. Not scores, attempts into red zone touchdowns. A score would be 3 points, right? Kick a field goal. No. They're 28th in the league, despite having the second most appearances in the red zone per game. They're only scoring touchdowns a very limited amount, and they're 28th in the league in doing so, which is killing them. It's absolutely killing them, on top of the fact the defense is historically bad. So the Rams move the ball at will, and then they stall in the red zone. What else do we know about this? Well, they are second to last in passing touchdowns per game. That's not going to help. That's not going to help at all. Stafford's been great until he gets in the red zone. I'm going to have more. Don't worry, I have everything to back this up. The Rams are 9th in rushing touchdowns per game. Basically, if they didn't have Kyron Williams, I don't know what they would be doing right now. They would not be very good. The passing touchdowns, they are 2 for 26 in terms of passing touchdowns on all red zone passing plays. That just includes dropbacks. So 26 dropbacks. They have had 2 passing touchdowns on those. The Rams have 5 of their 23 red zone carries. 5 of them have gone for touchdowns. Now, passing is about a 60-40 split for the Rams. They are a heavy passing team. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that they haven't really been left with much of a choice. Those injuries to Kupp and, of course, Nakua have teams wanting to load up the box. It's harder to run the football. Sometimes you'll get opportunities where you have to run 11 personnel just the whole game because, a team like, say, the Bears, they're really good against that 12 personnel grouping. So they didn't really have a choice against the Bears. They had to do what they did. But the 60-40 isn't going to make anybody happy, especially when you have a guy who you draft in the third round in Blake Corum who doesn't even play. So I understand that. But red zone touchdown percentage, let's look, because this has always been an issue for the Rams, whether you realize it or not. So 2024, they're 28th in the league in red zone touchdown percentage. They're second in red zone appearances per game. 2023, they're 12th. They were 12th in red zone appearances per game. They were 8th in red zone touchdown percentage, which that's really freaking good. And that is a big reason when you look at why they won so many games down the stretch last year. It's because they were scoring in the red zone. They were punching the ball into the end zone, settling for those 20-plus yard field goals. So that's something to keep in mind. So then you go back to 2022, and they were 28th in red zone appearances per game, tied for 14th in red zone touchdown percentage. Now, understand this. Touchdown percentage in the red zone means, out of the X amount of times that you've appeared, that's what you've scored touchdowns with. So tied for 14th is based on how many appearances they had and how many they've scored. 28th in the league is not good. Tied for 14th in the league when they're barely showing up in the red zone isn't really going to move the needle now, is it? So 2022, obviously we know what year that was. Not very good. 2021, they were third in the league in red zone appearances per game, which makes a lot of sense. It felt like they lived in the red zone. But as much as you love the 2021 team that, of course, won the Super Bowl, and you thought at times this team would be unstoppable offensively, they were never unstoppable offensively. As a matter of fact, they were third in red zone appearances per game, but they only scored touchdowns the 16th in the league. They were 16th in the league at scoring touchdowns after being third in the league in red zone appearances. 2020, they were 15th in red zone appearances, and they were 19th in red zone touchdown percentage. 2019, they were 5th in red zone appearances, 6th in red zone touchdown percentage. 2019 is a weird team. I look back at the stats and I just don't really understand why they didn't make the playoffs. But then you look and you're like, okay, there's more to it than that. And some of these were in garbage time. 2018, they were number 1 in the league in red zone appearances per game, and they finished 18th in red zone touchdown percentage. Okay. 2017, they're second. They finished 17th in red zone touchdown percentage. And going back to Sean McVay's last gig before the Rams, offensive coordinator with Washington, he was 6th in red zone appearances per game and 30th in red zone touchdown percentage. So what do you take away from this? You take away the fact that Sean McVay, albeit a great offensive mind, great head coach, one of the best in the league, he has an Achilles heel that has never gone away. He's had his moments. Like last year, you started to see, he's gotten better in the red zone. Okay. But to be fair, he did have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp for some of the season. But this year, they're facing adversity they faced in 2022, which led them to 28th in red zone appearances per game in 2022, and they only converted 14th in the league in terms of red zone touchdown percentage. So what am I getting at here? Well, it's early. It's a small sample size, but they're second. They're tied for second right now in red zone appearances per game. They're 28th in red zone touchdown percentage. If they can change that, if they can figure that out, they're going to turn this thing around. Even as bad as the defense has looked, and I don't like saying the defense. I like saying the run defense, maybe the secondary. The pass rush has been great, but as much as they've struggled, I still think like an elite offense could overcome it. It has in the past. So right now, the 28th ranked red zone touchdown percentage is not going to cut it. They have to change some things. Matthew Stafford's red zone numbers are abysmal. And I don't know where you want to go as far as blaming him or whatever, but Matthew Stafford's red zone numbers are this in 2024. He's 9 of 23 inside of the 20-yard line, 39% completion percentage. He's 3 of 11 inside the 10, 27.3 completion percentage. 3 of the 13 sacks that he has endured this year have come in the red zone at very inopportune times. He's 2 and 4 in the red zone, 2 for 4 in the red zone when using play action for 16 yards and a touchdown. Mind you, he's only thrown 2 red zone touchdowns. He's thrown 2 touchdowns just in general. And one of those came on the 4 different times that they ran play action. Now, the red zone targets are scary, okay? Let me just be honest with you. It's not good. So just buckle up here. You got Kyren Williams, who is he has the most red zone targets going into this thing. He has the most red zone targets of the Rams. 5. He's caught 4 for 33 yards and a touchdown. So he's been reliable. Cooper Kupp caught 2 for 3 for 13 yards and a touchdown before he got hurt. Tyler Johnson has caught 1 of his 3 targets in the red zone for 13 yards, and he was but targeted interception, which is the one Stafford threw to Kirby Joseph. Colby Parkinson, 1 for 4 for 7 yards. Demarcus Robinson, 0 for 3 for 0 yards. Tutu Atwell, 0 for 1 for 0 yards. Jordan Whittington, 0 for 1 for 0 yards. And Davis Allen, 0 for 1 for 0 yards. So this has to get better, but how do you change this? How do you make it better? Well, I'll tell you right now, if you look at the red zone offensive statistics for Kyren Williams, this is a guy inside the red zone, has 23 carries for 64 yards and 5 touchdowns. Only Jordan Mason has more red zone carry yardage. Inside the 10, 11 for 23, 11 carries, 23 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's the most yards in that split among all running backs. And then inside the 5, Kyren's gone 8 for 11 for 4 touchdowns. Only Jonathan Taylor has more carries and more rushing yards. So what am I getting at here? Well, I think you go back to the play action. There are a lot of things that have to be done. The offense, when you watch it, it's very bland. It's very stale. When it gets to the red zone, the creativity is not really there. It just doesn't feel like a great offense when they get to the red zone. They almost kind of do away with what they're doing, what is working. Kyren Williams does he leads the entire league in red zone carries, so it's not to say that they're not running the football with him, but I don't care if he already has the most. If he's the only thing that is causing them to score touchdowns, then they need to run it more. And so I look at these stats and I say, there are teams that really can't stop Kyren Williams. He's such a reliable back in the red zone. So it leads me to believe that 2 for 4, that number in the red zone on play action, that has resulted in 1 of the 2 touchdowns Stafford has thrown, including the other one being Kyren Williams himself. I think it's time to take advantage of this. If you're not going to run the football with Kyren Williams in the red zone, which is dumb, then at least take advantage of the play action. Because guess what? You're putting this all on film. They have ran the ball 23 times in the red zone with Kyren Williams through the first 4 games. So I guess really what I'm saying here is that when you have that resume and that is on tape and these teams know about it, take advantage of that. Have them leaning a little bit. That is the point of play action. So I do think they need to run more play action in the red zone. They've had success. They haven't done it much, but they have success. I think it's time. I believe that. Now, in addition to this, I do think one of the problems is I don't think they're allowing Stafford to take off and run. I don't. Stafford, I think he's the only quarterback I saw the other day that has 0 yards rushing. So in the red zone, when he has pressure, he's going to slide side to side, maybe make a play or two. But for the most part, he can't take off and run. And so I do think that's been an issue in the red zone as well. Those untimely sacks have been a problem. That has to be cleaned up. In addition to that, I will also point out here, while I think play action would help this red zone offense, I think also using some end arounds. Dude, you literally had a touchdown on the Jordan Whittington end around, the jet sweep, whatever, and it was, nullified because of AJ Arcuri's awful penalty, and then they didn't do it again. Like, okay, you don't want to do it again against the same team, that's understandable, but for an offense that's struggling the way they are in the red zone, how have you not tried different things? It's the same thing. They're trying the same things. Drop back passing. They're not using any end arounds. They're not using any gadget opportunities in the red zone. If you cannot punch it in, you have to get creative. It's really that simple because it is killing this team. You've lost 3 one-possession games out of your first 4 games. Two of the one-possession games out of the first 4 games. And they should be 3-1 if we're being honest. The Bears, they absolutely should have won. They should have beat the Lions. Had they have done better in the red zone, things would have been different. What did people say after the Lions game? They just couldn't score in the red zone. What did people say after the Bears game? Just couldn't score in the red zone. It's not acceptable. This can't happen. They have to find a way to get it done. Otherwise, they're not going to win these games. They're just not. And they need to win a lot of games and make up for this if they want to get back to the playoffs. And so that's kind of where I'm at here. I look at a guy like Sam Darnold right now. If you're wondering why the Vikings, truthfully, I had to do some digging. But if you're wondering why the Vikings look as good as they do, why they're winning the games they're winning, Sam Darnold is the best red zone quarterback in the league, period. Red zone inside the 20, Darnold is 18 for 25, 118 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Inside the 10, no interceptions, 7 touchdowns, 9 of 12 for 45. That is going to help you win. Stafford, like I just said earlier, is 9 for 23 inside the 20. Of course, keep in mind, Darnold is 18 of 25. And inside the 10, Stafford's 3 for 11. Darnold is 9 for 12. Baker Mayfield's up there too. These teams are winning games where you're like, how are they winning games? This is why. You have to be able to score touchdowns in the red zone. And Sam Darnold has 8 red zone touchdowns. Matthew Stafford has 2 touchdowns, period. So if we're looking at the solution to this problem, I think it starts with you have to continue to run the football. Whether you like it or not, you have to be a run-heavy team in the red zone and make them stop you. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to utilize more play action. The red zone efficiency there is there in the rushing game, right? In the run game. When you carry the ball and you have the success Kyren Williams has and it has had, teams have to account for that. So you're going to get them caught cheating on a play action pass. They have to use more play action. 4 times is not going to cut it. It's just not. It's not acceptable. They need to use play action more. That's that. So Kyren Williams, run more, play action, more utilization of play action. And then one thing I really want to point out here is that, and I understand, I get that it's a small sample size, totally get it. But at the same time, we got to be honest with ourselves. Things have to change. More end arounds, more gadgets, but even more so, why not use Tutu Atwell? I think it's time. Stop looking at Tutu Atwell like he's just this field stretching player. He's not, okay? He can win all over the field. So I don't understand why he's almost just relegated to that. When you really look, I mean, Tutu Atwell, small sample size and all, but 2023, he catches 3 of the 5 targets in the red zone for 2 touchdowns. Okay, the Rams have 2 passing touchdowns on the year through the first 4 games in the red zone. Atwell caught 2 last year in 5 opportunities. Okay, so get Atwell involved. I do think losing Cooper Kupp, who's one of the best red zone threats in the league, has hurt them, but it shouldn't be the excuse. There are other ways to get guys involved. The Vikings are doing it. They've been banged up all year. Sam Darnold is quarterback, not Matthew Stafford. So we just got to be honest here when we're talking about this. The fact is, this offense is exciting. It's moving the football, and it is basically generating opportunities to be dominant. It is getting almost 5. I think we're close to 5 red zone appearances a game. I think right now they're 4.5. The point I'm making here is that if they're doing that and they could just make a little adjustment and you start to see they go from, say, the 28th team in red zone touchdown percentage to even what they had in 2021 at 16th. Do you know how much better this team will be? Do you know how much more points they will score? It's non-negotiable. This is put up or shut up time. They can do it against the Packers this week. The defense has struggled. They've let a lot of opportunities in the red zone go. They've let a lot of red zone touchdowns go. So this is the opportunity here. The Rams have to be able to step up on the offensive side of the ball because right now your defense is struggling. You can't lose these games. These are must-win games. You have to get back on the high side, and I think it really starts. Obviously, we can talk about the defense all we want, but in this video, it really has to start with the red zone offense. It has to be better. There are multiple things they can do to change their fortunes here, but it's time to take action. Stop doing the same thing over and over again. Whittington and Atwell have 2 combined targets in the red zone. Those are your best receivers. Get them involved. Demarcus Robinson has 3 targets. It's not working. 4 if you include the 2-point conversion attempt. It's not working. So get Tutu Atwell involved more. Get Jordan Whittington involved more in the red zone. Use more play action. Run the ball more with Kyren Williams. There are things that you can do, and it's really, like I said, non-negotiable. They have to figure this out. This has been a Sean McVay Achilles heel for most of his career. He had a great 2023 in the red zone. Like I mentioned, red zone appearances, 12 in the league. He had 8th. They were 8th in touchdown percentage. The bottom line is they have to get to at least league average in red zone touchdowns per game. If they don't improve on this touchdown percentage, it's going to be a long year, especially while the defense is trying to get itself going. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I do believe that they're going to turn this thing around. And I think while a lot of this is negative, I think a lot of this should also be positive, optimistic. An optimistic viewpoint makes sense because this team is getting to the red zone the second most in the league. So if they can just put things together, this might be a quick fix, but we'll see. That's going to do it for me. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. And check out today's sponsor of the video, BetUS, 150% bonus match when you sign up using YouTube 150. The next 2 bonus matches would be, of course, 125%. So check that out on BetUS in the description below. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.